Hi there guys, I hope you have had a good day. Now, KSI the YouTuber made some kind of weird comments about Mike Tyson. He made some controversial comments that went viral about him maybe fighting and even beating Mike Tyson. He was asked if he could beat Mike Tyson and he simply replied, I actually could though. I actually could. I'm undefeated. No one has beaten me. The reason why? Age. It's on my side. Age is on my side. And the first few rounds, I ain't going to go all out. Then trainer Vidal Riley explained to KSI, you couldn't last 3 threes against Mike Tyson. Regardless, KSI stood strong. I need to survive 3 rounds, he replied. But he has kind of recently backtracked, saying on Twitter that he doesn't want to fight Mike Tyson. The man's a legend. So, he doesn't really want to fight Mike Tyson, and he also said you got trolled from a drunk sideman video. KSI doesn't want to fight Mike Tyson, but he believes he could beat him if he did so. Now, age isn't a factor. KSI is 27, Mike Tyson's 54. Mike Tyson is a legend and a heavyweight champion in his prime. He's still extremely explosive and extremely powerful on the pads. We don't know what he's going to be like in the ring. We'll know when he fights Roy Jones Jr. or Shannon Briggs. Shannon Briggs is trying to get in there, but ultimately we will know about Mike Tyson then. But still, Mike Tyson needs 30 seconds to land one punch on KSI. That's it. Because Mike Tyson is a pro boxer, or a former pro boxer. He knows what he's doing in there. KSI is a novice. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to KSI. In his pro debut as a professional boxer, his first fight as a pro, he fought Logan Paul in front of 20,000 people. In a pro debut, that's unheard of. And while it wasn't the most skillful of fights, it was still kind of an entertaining fight. And KSI did give a good account of himself as a novice, not as a pro boxer. He was a pro boxer, but as a novice in his first pro debut, that was good. It was good. But going from Logan Paul to Mike Tyson is another thing entirely. Now, he did recently backtrack and say that he doesn't want to fight Mike Tyson, but he didn't backtrack and go as far as saying that he doesn't believe he could beat Mike Tyson. So he kind of does still believe that he could beat Mike Tyson because age is on his side. Now, age is a factor if you think that Anthony Joshua versus Mike Tyson. AJ versus Mike Tyson in both of their primes, when AJ's 30 and Mike Tyson is 30 as well. Maybe a bit younger because Mike Tyson peaked very young and early into his career. So a prime Mike Tyson versus a prime Anthony Joshua, that's a fair fight. But then if you go Anthony Joshua in his prime versus Mike Tyson now, that's not a fair fight. But Anthony Joshua is a pro boxer, heavyweight champion of the world. KSI is not a pro boxer. He's had one professional fight, which was sanctioned, and obviously it is a pro fight. He's 1-0 as a cruiserweight, I believe. But that was in a fight with another YouTuber, not a pro boxer. That was KSI's first fight. That was also Logan Paul's first fight. So they are both general novices. So you can't go from that, then go to a legend in Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson may be 54, but he's not done. Look at him on the pads. He looks incredible. And the pads are different from being in the ring, of course. But ultimately, someone like that with that kind of speed, power, and movement would land on KSI in the first 30 seconds, and that would be it. Age doesn't mean anything. Age doesn't give you this kind of ability to be able to beat that kind of experience that Mike Tyson has, because he has a lot of it, and he would use that experience to his advantage. KSI doesn't have that experience to call upon when he comes under fire from Mike Tyson. He's never been backed up, pushed back, put under pressure. That is what Mike Tyson would do. So that being said, there is no way that KSI would ever beat Mike Tyson. Even if Mike Tyson was 60, 65, still just wouldn't beat him because he doesn't have the boxing fundamentals and abilities to be able to cope with Mike Tyson. I've got to survive the first 3 rounds is what he said. He ain't surviving 3 rounds against Mike Tyson. He ain't surviving 30 seconds against Mike Tyson, because when Tyson hits him, that's it. He's been hit by Logan Paul, yes, fair enough. But Mike Tyson, former heavyweight champion of the world, the man who just went through everyone during his time, hitting you on the chin, it's going to be go time. He's not conditioned to take that kind of punishment. Very few fighters are. And of course, KSI has kind of backtracked and said that he didn't want to fight Mike Tyson. But again, as I said, he's never said that he wouldn't beat Mike Tyson. He hasn't come back and said that oh, Mike Tyson would beat me in a fight. So maybe he still believes that he can beat Mike Tyson, which is a little bit of naivety, maybe, and the fact that he's beaten Logan Paul. He's 1-0, undefeated. No one has ever beaten him. He's had one pro fight, and he's undefeated. So saying that no one has ever beaten him, he hasn't really challenged anyone else other than Logan Paul and Joe Weller, if you want to count that white collar fight that he had with him. But as a pro, yes, he is undefeated, but he's only 1-0. And if he is that confident of beating Mike Tyson, why not try? Mike Tyson is coming back against Roy Jones Jr. in a charitable event, so I'm guessing he would be open to fighting KSI. Maybe he wouldn't. I mean, it is a YouTuber after all, and I mean, there has been a lot of backlash about Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul, but I mean, it's a possibility. It's something that could happen if he wanted to, and I don't think it was the fact that he wanted to fight Mike Tyson that kind of annoyed everyone. I don't think that was the reason why people were, making comments about KSI. It was the fact that he said he could beat Mike Tyson. That was the problem. So coming out and saying that he doesn't want to fight Mike Tyson and clarifying that you got trolled or whatever by a Sideman video, that wasn't the reason why people got upset or kind of said to KSI, there's no way that you're going to beat Mike Tyson. It was because he said he would beat Mike Tyson. That was the reason why they came out with those kind of comments. And I'm not putting KSI down. I think he's kind of funny. He's kind of a cool guy. But ultimately, I mean, in the boxing ring, he's never going to get close to Mike Tyson. And as I said, it's not the fact that he said he wanted to fight Mike Tyson. It was the fact that he said he would beat Mike Tyson. And even went as far as explained how he would do it. Survive the first 3 rounds. Be clever, be smart, be elusive. Then step on it and take it to the older man who will tire out. But you have to consider how long are you going to be in there with Mike Tyson, because judging by his training footage and Mike Tyson's career as a whole, he ain't waiting around 3 rounds to have a boxing match with a YouTuber, KSI. He's not waiting around for that. He's going to go straight for the knockout from round 1. You wait till Roy Jones versus Mike Tyson. It's an exhibition, yes, but it will catch fire at some point. I mean, you imagine if Roy Jones clocks Mike Tyson, what's he going to do? He's going to go hell for leather and try and land one back. This could turn into a full fight, even though it's an exhibition. It could turn into a proper fight because they both have big egos. They both want to win this. Even though it is classed as not really a full professional fight, they still both want to go for the knockout. They have even said that in interviews. They said that when you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. I'm going to get to you before you get to me. And Roy Jones explained that if Mike Tyson does not knock him out early, then he's going to be in big trouble. So they are approaching this as a professional fight, even though it is only considered as an exhibition. So you can expect this fight to catch fire at some point. From then on, it is a full fight. So no matter how KSI would go in there against Mike Tyson, whether that was an exhibition, at some point, Mike Tyson would step on the gas. And that would just be too much for KSI, especially someone who doesn't have the experience to hold, to move, to know what to do when they come under fire like that. Because Mike Tyson would bring the heat with bad intentions. That's something that KSI has never experienced in the ring. He's normally dictating those kind of things. He's the one going forwards. Against Logan Paul, he was pressing him constantly. Imagine if he had someone on him all the time, pushing him back. So guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? KSI has backtracked and said that he didn't want to fight Mike Tyson. He's a legend and he will happily leave him alone. And he's happily retired. But he didn't say that he wouldn't beat him. He didn't backtrack on that. So that's kind of interesting. He still believes he would beat Mike Tyson. So guys, anyway, drop your thoughts on this in the comments below. Leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.